Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Dear televiewers, once again, you are welcome to County Roads, your weekly show with Comfort Convo. So tonight we are honored with great panelists from the great county of MEZAM. And so I present to you our own comrade Blasius Awongsam of Tuba local government area. Comrade Blasius, you are welcome to County Roads. Comrade Blasius, can you hear me, please? Comrade Blasius, can you hear me? All right. While we wait, I don't know. He seems to be, well, technical. We always have technical issues to deal with. So meanwhile, with Comrade Blasius in the studio, we also have Comrade Vali from Bali local government area. Comrade Tita, you are welcome to County Roots, and thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you for having me.
Hello, Comrade Tita, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you 5 on 5.
All right, thank you. I can hear you too really well. So, dear televiewers, before we go ahead, I would like to try again to introduce to you Comrade Blasius from Tuba local government area. Comrade Blasius, you are welcome to County Roads.
Okay. If you have asked me a question, I did not hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, Comrade Blasius, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Perfect. We were just introducing you. I was telling our dear televiewers that you are from Tuba local government areas, and we are saying you are welcome to County Roads.
Thank you. I think that we have
Yeah.
tried several times, and today the good of communication have allowed us to connect.
I know, yeah. So let's see what we've got today. So thank you once again for joining, dear comrades from MEZAM County. Thank you, dear televiewers, for tuning in. Please remember to share on your various platforms as we look at what we have to discuss with the great MEZAM County after the launch of the award. So meanwhile, I would like to take this opportunity to observe a minute of silence in honor of our fallen heroes, our suffering people back at home. Tribute to our Amazonian brothers and sisters who are suffering in the dungeons and who are scattered all over the world. So let us observe a minute of silence together, please. May the souls of our departed heroes rest in peace, and may the God of all comfort comfort all the families and the entire Amazonia family that is mourning and grieving. And we equally use this opportunity to say thank you to our prisoners who are suffering out there for us. We continue to say courage to our people, our suffering people back on the ground, and those in ground one and all over Africa, and why not in the entire world. So once again, dear ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to another edition of County Roots as we host the MEZAM County. Before I go ahead, equally, I would like to extend our concern and our heartfelt sympathy to Guti and Lebialem that were affected by a landslide this morning. From the pictures, we don't know yet what happened, but the pictures did not look that good. So we just extend our sympathy to these our brothers and sisters from Guti and Lebialem, and we want to use this opportunity once again before we go ahead. Comrade Tita, if you could please, you would like to use 1 minute to just introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do in the revolution? And who are you? Maybe do you hold a post of responsibility in Bali LGA or in MEZAM County? Please let us know. Comrade Tita, over to you, please.
I want to thank you, Comfort, for giving me this opportunity to be on this platform. I am my name is Wilson Tita. I am currently acting as the vice chair and also as the spokesperson for Balinyanga LGA. And I'm excited that we're having this conversation. This is my first time on your show. I know that we are currently having some really pressing issues at this stage of the revolution. I look forward
Right.
to think what we can do to pass the message to the people of Bali and others on the pressing needs for us to get our hands together and forge ahead for the betterment of our country, Amazonia.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. The pleasure is ours to have you here. We're really happy, and I hope that everybody back home should be smiling that a brother from Bali Nyonga is sitting right here to talk about that local government area. So over to you, Comrade Blasius. Would you like to tell us too who you are in MEZAM County? Do you have a role of responsibility in the interim government at the level of the Tuba LGA? Please just kindly introduce yourself to our audience. Thank you.
Okay. Well, yes, my name is Blash Sawonsa. I am the Under Secretary for Defense, and I used to be the defense chair for Tuba and Santa local government area. And then we have organized election with people who are capable of handling those positions, and I've retreated to the federal government, to the level of federal government, and I'm only serving advisor to them.
All right. Thank you very much once again for accepting our invitation. Dear televiewers, once again, you are watching County Roots with Comfort Convo. Remember to share before you take a seat as you join us. I would also like to use this opportunity to say hello to our brothers and sisters watching us on satellite all over the entire sub-Saharan Africa. We greet you all in Kenya, Mali, Zimbabwe, and all over Africa. Thank you for watching. Thank you, those of you who are on YouTube. Please do well to share and share such that everybody will join us to talk about the great MEZAM County. So that said, we would like to delve into business, and if you could, please, County Roots is a two-dimensional show. The first phase of it, we always like to, as the name implies, to know our roots. We like to know where we come from. We like to know who we are. We like to know what we have and all of those things about us before we take the phase two to go into the revolution proper. So that said, I would like to know from you, Comrade Tita, you are from Balinyonga. If you could, please just kindly tell us what are the villages, the various villages that constitute the Bali LGA. Thank you.
Well, Bali LGA consists of several villages that we have. We have Bawok, obviously, we have Mbufung, we have Mbelu, we have Kopin, many other villages. It's a pretty dynamic kingdom. Obviously, Balinyanga is in MEZAM County, and our neighbors, obviously, Nchomba, Batu. We have neighbors in the Mogamo, obviously Pining and the Santa, Bafochu. Those are Bali neighbors, and we have pretty much we have played a very important role, continue to play a very important role in this our struggle, in this our revolution to free our land. Balinyonga has been the epicenter for a lot of violence that has been perpetrated on them by the forces of La République du Cameroon. We can still remember the chemical attack.
Comrade Wilson, please, before you go into that, because we will need time to talk a bit more about that. So before you go into that, let's just get to know Bali a bit. I'm just happy because the very first name you mentioned was the one I wanted to hear, whether I was part of Bali. And of course, yes, you mentioned the Bawok is part of Bali and the rest of the villages. But another clarification, I think there are, to the best of my knowledge, about 7 Balis. Do they have anything in common? Is there any relationship, or all of the Balis are independent from one another? Just for curiosity.
Yes, that's Bali. The Bali that I'm speaking on behalf of is Balinyonga, but obviously there are 7 Balis, and all the Balis. Obviously, that some of the Balis are like the Balinyonga is actually linked to another Bali, Kontan, but we have Bali Kumba as well. We also have Baligam, all right, and we have Balimuti and other Balis. Also another Bali in
Yeah,
Nigeria, by the way. So all these Balis are working. We are conversing of each other. We share the same culture. We
yeah.
obviously have the same lineage from the chamber. But in most cases, we work independently, and we have our different
Mm-hmm.
fandoms, but we are definitely
Right.
cordial and friendly to each other. Yes.
All right, thank you. Yeah, please, before you finally hand over the microphone, we would like to know one last thing, which is, of course, very, very important, because there are certain things at times we do ignore because we think that they are trivial things, but believe me, they are really important, and some people may not know. What is the name of the fund of the Bali Nyonga Kingdom?
Well, currently our fund is Fungayunga, but obviously we know he's not presently seated in the fandom because he's been out in Yaoundé. Uh, but he's still our fund.
Right.
We have always been our culture is very important to us. We
Right.
think that that is not the case. That's just the case. That's what it is. The revolution has taught us a lot of lessons, and we
Yeah.
are continuing to plead with our traditional leaders, including our friends, to come and sit down with us, and let's fight for the freedom of our people. And I think that
All right.
it's about time we do that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I think we leave it there again because we'll definitely find time to come back to that. So we want to turn over now to Tuba local government area. Comrade Blasius, if you could quickly just tell us, if you remember, what are the various villages that make up the Tuba local government area, please?
Well, the Tuba local government area is made up of actually 5 villages, even though it's just 4. You have Babanki, you have the two Babanki, you have Bambili, you have Bambui, then you have Funge, which I think Bambui thing is really under them, but prior to this struggle, Funge was a unit of its own. But we have only 4 active villages in Tuba. Tuba, as you
Mm-hmm.
know, is a gateway to other counties. It's a gateway to Boyo County. It's a gateway to Ngakutunja County, even to Bui County and Dongamantum. So,
Right.
Tuba, yeah. And the village of
Mm-hmm.
Babanki, where I hail from, neighbors 9 villages. You have Bamali,
Okay.
you have Bamili, you have Kom, you have the other Babanki, the Jomkuku,
Mm-hmm.
and you have Bambui, you have Bambili, you have Banja, then you have Awin, and you have Balikumba. So yeah, so even though it's referred to as a small Babanki, but it's not actually small as people refer to
Yeah,
it.
I know. I'm really amazed because I don't know that that's okay. Yeah, carry on, please. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
the thing why you have 2 Babankis is because there was a succession problem that happened back in
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when. Yeah, where there was a traditional dance called the annual dance, which we have. One of the princes died, and it was a tradition that when a princess died, they have to celebrate his death before anything goes on. But some people were of the
Mm.
opinion that they should have the annual without even celebrating the death of that prince who passed on. So there was this disagreement. So some people split. Those that were in favor of that thing, they split and then went and settled where they are now. Then some people remain where they are. So it was I
Okay.
don't know what even split. Yeah. So
So does
so
it
today
mean that
that's
these two Babankis, they have two different fonts or chiefs? Do the two Babankis have two different fonts?
correct. They have 2 different forms.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, if you could do
Mm.
us maybe one of the last favors, tell us how do they call the two Babankis? How did they call? They say, well, the Babanki, the Tunga, and so on. Just call it, pronounce it for us. How did they call? And maybe what
So,
does it mean? Thank you.
so you have Kajamku Tingo and then you have Kajamku Ku.
Okay.
Kujamkuku, the Babanki split into two. And then Kujamku Timbo is because you have the three stones, Babanki, so they refer to it as Kujamku Timbo.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, it's good. It's good to know. That is the reason for county roads. We need to know all of these things because we either used to ignore them or because we were forced to learn certain things that were none of our business. Now we are in the process of rewriting our history, and so we need to learn and understand everything to our fingertips. That is the reason for this questioning and so on and so on. So thank you to you of both of you comrades, and I will quickly want to go back to Comrade Tita again. Comrade Tita, Comrade Blasius just mentioned something about annual dance, but I want to throw this back to you first. Balinyonga is known for its very rich and unique cultural heritage. Could you please tell us about the Leila Festival of Balinyonga, please?
Well, let me first of all not be too disrespectful. I want to thank Comrade Blasius for being being on this panel as well. And yeah, obviously, the Lena dance is, as you know, it is a very, very powerful event in Bali. Each time we have it, it brings in visitors and tourists from all over the world.
Right.
Bali has prided itself as being a very rich culture. Our Leila is very powerful. We come in and we show our horses. We ride the horses, and we come in with a powerful culture and showcasing the culture of the Bali chamber, and showcasing the vast dynamism of Bali Nyonga. It has always been something that is amazing. And I think that when people look forward to Leila, when it goes way, we look way years back, we realize that it is something that has always bonded the Bali Nyonga people together. And even to this day, it is something that people from within MEZAM and even in the northern zone and in the whole of the nation of Cameroon, of our La République du Cameroon, and even as far wide as China and other areas, they look forward to this event. They look forward to Bali Leila because the power that emanates from it is something that lives with you, and you remember it for a very long time. So I think that that is something that obviously with us realizing our nation of Amazonia is gonna take a different phase, a different dynamic, and it will be time for us to once more showcase the beauty of culture and the greatness of the kingdom of Bali and Bali Nyonga in particular.
Yeah, there is something I think I would like to confess here. I have lived in Bali for almost going to secondary school at the government high school, so at least I have an idea. So there's something about there's this particular lady who does a particular display during this Leila festival. How do they call this particular lady? What is the title that she owns, or what is her role in this entire festival? Because there's something, she's so particular, unique in her dressing and everything.
Well, if I understand what your question is, yes, we do have this particular lady. I'm gonna. I mean, she is one. She comes out and she displays, and one of the things that people take home with her. I'm not I'm not sure exactly what the name of the lady you're referring to, but I've
Yeah.
actually I'm kind of like leaning towards that you're talking about the events that the ladies come out and the dance around the phone and the kind of like show the beauty of the culture and the dancing moves, and it's a powerful display. But obviously, it's not just a showcase of Bali culture, but it's a showcase of the culture of the northern of Amazonia, the showcase of the culture that we all aspire to live and continue to be part of. especially as we fight for our nation. That's something that definitely, when you go to the Leila Festival, you look forward to those women who come out and they put those displays out there. It's a beauty to see, and definitely that's something that I think other cultures and other villages that surround Bali, they also have their own festivals that they have. But obviously, you have to realize that Bali has shown over the years that the Leila is unique. The Leila is something that
Right.
has surpassed many others. People have looked forward to it, and I think that it's a pace setter in the culture in Amazonia.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much for that great presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are eager to see a free Amazonia, get ready for the Lela Festival, because by the time you come back from there for your first time, you will surely definitely have a story to tell. So thank you so much, Comrade Tita, for that great presentation. And about you, Comrade Blasius, do you have a comment to make about the presentation about the Lela Festival? Do you find anything interesting you want to comment, or if not, then you would want to maybe go ahead to let us know? I know that from your presentation, you said that Babanki people broke into two because they were disputing over the celebration of an annual festival and the mourning of a prince and so on. So what is the annual festival that you have in your own place? How do they call it? I don't know. I have no idea. So if you can really let us know, please.
So before I say anything, I want to acknowledge the presence of our co-panelists here. And I equally witnessed Leila in Bali. I was in Bali in 1990. I was in Form 5 in Bali in 1990. And I remember at that time I was from Bali, Guy's church or so. I was in the class with one of his brothers too. Yeah. And I witnessed Leila. We used to go down go from Tafang to from Jenka
So
to
you
Tafang
cross the
through the
Chima tour, and then you go up and go to
Yes. So we go
right.
and cross the back. Yeah. So I know
Right.
a little bit about it. Yeah. So when I was little, we lost our phone, and his successor was almost my age. So they suspended the annual dance in our village because as tradition demands, he will have to get married and have a child before such an occasion can take place. So yeah, but he is of age, but unfortunately he does not have a child. And I left the village a long time ago. I've been out, so I have never witnessed it. I've witnessed it in Bali, but in fact, I've never witnessed it in Bafang, you know,
Right.
because during the traditional dance was suspended in Babanki because we had a regent who was acting in the place of the king, who was the king, and that traditional dance could not take place. So some of us missed that opportunity. Yeah.
All right. No problem. It's okay. So that said, if you would like to connect, once again, Comrade Blasius, Babanke is the giant, I would say the giant producer of vegetable, precisely huckleberry, what we call jamanjama in Amazonia, which they supply not only the entire Amazonia, but La Republique to Cameroon. And since 2016, given all the atrocities meted on us by the neighboring regime, what has been the effect of the trade in Jamanjama on the people of Babanke?
Well, as you know, the war had not only affected that aspect of activity, it has affected every line of activity in Ambazonia, not only Babanki, everywhere in Ambazonia. Because the farmer had to seek refuge, they have to seek shelter, they have to run away. They don't have time to go to their farm and cultivate their crops. So, and this is one of the things that the government thought that they were going to use this system of attrition, to break our back, but it has failed. The Jamanjama, as you know, I hear a few people do cultivate it, and it is very expensive. If you go to Dubai, you see them in the market, but it's very expensive. If you go to Yaoundé, it's very expensive. You see it in the market, it's very expensive. Now, the only thing we don't know is who is benefiting from the high cost that is, is it the farmer or the media people? Yeah, it's always the media person who benefit, because the farmer does not even, doesn't even know. He sells it in their regular price, but the media person jacked up the price. Yeah. Pass on whatever thing he incurred to the consumer. So yeah, this war had really affected almost everything in Amazonia, including the sales of German. Yeah.
I know. All right. I think this is a good topic. I don't know. This was like a kind of a team that has a lot in common, Comrade Tita. All of us here have to say everything about Bali and Bali Nyonga and Leila. This is really unfair because everything about you is there, So now we have to talk about Jama again. I think that all of us are Jama eaters. What contribution or what is your observation now that the supply, this is important because I know that it's the livelihood of the people, especially of Babaki, and it has been supplying the two countries, I would say. So what would you say as a piece of advice? Do they get the little that they manage to cultivate now and supply it at home, or do you still encourage that they export it? I know it sounds like a stupid question, but then I think we just need to ponder over. We have had a lot from La Republic to Cameroon. These people will sell the vegetable to them at a normal price. They will go and raise the price to mountain tops and so on, make money, given what they are doing to us. What is your opinion about us still exporting our stuff, especially this particular vegetable to the neighboring country?
Well, I'm supposing that question is for me.
Yeah, sure, Comrade Tita.
Okay. Yes, obviously, yeah, we have known, I've grown to know Big Babanki as the epicenter of Njama. Obviously, if you go to Bamenda Market back in the days, you see those women from Babanki, and they will line up the aisles, and they will be selling the Banjamanjama, and it was always something that a lot of it was just a trade, and I think we appreciate those days. But unfortunately, because of the war, a lot of those traders and those farmers have run away, and because of that, now most people are just worried about finding something that they can eat and some medicine for their family if they get sick. I think it is obviously very very. It will be something I'll say right now. It will be to carry and sell to the other neighboring country like La Republic. From our own side, it is there are still some elements of it, but it is not as it used to be. Obviously, we know that La Republic has depended on food from southern Cameroons, from Amazonia, for many years and still does. But their soldiers have decided to slaughter even farmers, and a lot of those farmers have been scared, and some of them have either become IDPs in La Republic, or some of them have pretty much just stopped farming because they are afraid that they will be mistaken or they will be assumed for being Amazonian Restoration Forces, which is something that La Republic has used as a way of eliminating all our people. And I think that we are in a situation right now where most of our farmers are farming, but they are farming just to survive and get something for their family to eat. The tendency to go and sell to the neighboring countries like Republic and Nigeria because of the war has pretty much come to a grinding halt. But obviously, we are hoping that once we get our country back, that those activities will come back, and we're able to start generating revenue. The farmers will get back into their cultivation, and we'll start seeing some changes. But obviously, we are at war, and when you are at war, it's a different ball game.
Right. Okay, thank you so much. So that said, I want to point out to some other thing which has been really disturbing of late. If we want to look back even into history as from 2016, If we remember the week leading to the 1st of October when Sisiku was going to declare the restoration of our independence, that week was meant to clean the streets of Amazonia. And during that week, he actually announced that he has actually officially handed the powers and the authority of back home into the hands of our traditional rulers. You know, so that the custodian of the people, if anybody has a problem, they should take to our traditional rulers. But at some point from the activities of the traditional rulers make us at times to feel like they are failing us. You can think about the audio or the video that Chief Angwafo or Fonangwafo made a couple of months ago, giving his go-ahead, thanking Paul Biya, appreciating that whatever thing he's doing is the right thing, and he will never stop supporting him in whatever thing he's doing. We have had situations where, like in Meme County, the funds, not in Meme, in Manu, the traditional rulers were pouring libation with the guys to curse those of us who are here in the diaspora doing what we are doing. And recently in Donga Mountain, where I come from, precisely in what village, you see a traditional ruler pouring libation and pronouncing curses on the Amazonia restoration forces. So the question now is, where is the tradition that they are custodians of? They are the custodian of our tradition and of our children and of the entire village that they take care of. So when they turn against us and the government is against us, it's like difficult. So I just know, what can you comment? And maybe you as the son of the soil, because if you were home, normally you should be under their protection. What message do you have from these activities of our traditional rulers? What do you want to tell them as their son? You can go first, Comrade Sita, please.
Yeah, obviously, we know for now, we know that all the funds have decided to migrate over to the neighboring Republic of Cameroon. And we saw recently that Tanganji was trying to convince them to come back to the grass field to be with their people. We know that the funds obviously have abandoned. Most of the funds, I will not say all of them, but most of the funds have abandoned their people. That's a fair statement. And it is very unfortunate that this is happening at the time that the people need their traditional leaders the most. And it is not, this is something that is pretty shocking, because back in the days when we were growing up, the funds will always rally behind their people and surround their people. And the funds will come to defend their people when their people was feeling defenseless, or when the people were coming under attack. But unfortunately, during this period of carnage, of genocide on the people of Southern Cameroon, and this is the time that the funds will have come to the help of the people and said and rally and at least speak up for the people. The least that we can ask for is to at least speak up and say, let's just stop. But not even one of the funds. I believe that some funds have said that in some ways, but I think that we're saying that the funds are pretty much staying away from the people. They are embracing the regime in Yaoundé. They are actually coming out there, and like you said, they're pouring libation and calling curses on the people that are fighting to liberate Southern Cameroon from the carnage of the government of the Republic of Cameroon. And there's just one of those things that I look at, and many people have just given up on these traditional leaders. And it is just so unfortunate that it has come to the point where we are no longer looking at our traditional leaders for guidance and even for comfort. It is so discomforting that we are living. Let me speak for myself, for Balinyanga, where this phone has been so absent. We had some terrible things happen in the village of Balonga. We know about the chemical attacks that happened that killed more than 20 youths. Right. We know about people that have been killed, and the fund could not even make a statement to say, well, I sympathize with the family, or it is so, the silence is so uncomfortable. And I think that if we don't, this is one of the things that when we finally realize our nation, Amazonia, we're gonna have to have a frank conversation on how and what role the funds are going to play going forward in Amazonia. Obviously, a lot of villages still recognize their fundums and their chieftaincies, and there's nothing wrong in that. But when we look back, hindsight, and realize how abandoned the funds left us during the time that we needed them the most, people are going to come back to talk about what role and what role does the funds and the chiefs and the chiefdoms and the fundums will have going forward once we get to Boya. And I think that's a conversation that we're going to have because it doesn't look like we can avoid that. But I think that the situation that happened in Babanki as well with the chieftaincy and the fighting, the fundums getting split, is also something that we have to also look at and address. But I think it is unfortunate. And I don't even know how we can start to even resolve that during this time, because it seems like we're going to have to wait until the war is over, until we've gotten our freedom, before we can go back to revisit the reason why we got to this situation where the funds completely just left us on our own and abandoned us to La Republique. And some of them are even siding with the occupation. And basically, it is something that has been happening for the last 3-4 years during the course of this fight for our liberation.
Right. You're very correct, because if I may, even, the experience is all over the place. The most recent one from my own county, the fund is out there pouring libation, pronouncing curses on his own children, the Ambazonia Restoration Forces. But on the 14th of February, Ngarpu happened. This same fund did not come out. That is how bad it is. So I understand where you are coming from when you say we need to have a chat when we get back home. Yeah, so
in Bali, we love our fun. The Bali people, the Bali people love their fun. They love their fun. Fun Guyana. He's still our fun, but we need some answers. We need to understand where he stands. We need him to come to us and explain to us what is happening, because we have not seen him for all this time. It's been 3-4 years, and we have not seen him. And we want to know exactly what he has to explain to the people of Balanyonga. What is the way forward? And unfortunately, we are left on our own to forge for ourselves, and our leaders, who are the funds and the chiefdoms and the funds, have pretty much sided, or they are either staying silent, or some of them have sided with the government that is giving us that is persecuting their own people. And so I think that is something that is very worrisome. And I'm happy that eventually, once we get to our freedom and take back our land, we're gonna hopefully revisit these issues and talk and have a frank conversation on the role and the position of our funds and our chiefdoms.
Okay, right. So very correct. Thank you so much, Comrade Flashes. I think you will equally have a thing to say about this reckless attitude. I'm sorry if it's a strong word. That's the only way I can put it. The reckless attitude of our traditional rulers. They are runaway funds. They speak against us and things like that. Do you have a thing to say, comment to make, please? Thank you.
Yes, of course. You see, the government thought that they were going to use this system of attrition, which is a military tactic, to break their back, but they have failed. And so the government allies, thought that they were going to use this tactic of saying that blackmailing people, using Matu to blackmail people. They see that they are fair. So now when the draft came up, the worst thing that ever happened to La Republique is this issue of draft that came out. Because the draft system actually gives power back to the people. And when you give ownership back to the people and they take control of the situation, they now understand what the struggle is all about. Now the government is going back and say, hey, we got to do something. We got to bring these funds in to cut their legs from under them. That's what they are doing, because this draft has shown the government that we have given back the power back to the people, and now so they are no longer going to hold us accountable for any mismanagement. The people are the ones that are managing the funds. They cannot blame anybody for any mismanagement. So now they are saying, oh, okay, we're going to use another tactic. And now they have seen that we have measured people's commitment to this struggle by how much they are giving to this struggle. Despite all the talk that they were talking, so this drug is measuring people's commitment to our struggle. You see, so the government is angry. The government is shocked that we got to do something. We got to do something, and the only thing that they have now left for them is to bring out these funds. To bring out the funds so that they can now start cursing them. Because there's just no way. We have defeated them militarily. We have defeated them. Politically, we have knocked them out because they can't organize election in our country. So we have defeated them. Economically, we have defeated them because CDC is not functioning, Sonora is not functioning. So now diplomatically, we have equally defeated them. We brought them to the table and they're coming behind us. So the only tool they have in that toolbox is to use the funds. And not because they know that these funds are very valuable. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They have seen the struggle, that the people now understand what the struggle is all about, because we have given the federal government, the IG has given them back the power. So you take ownership of this struggle. So what can they do to
I know.
Yeah.
So listen, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so the only thing that they can come back to now is going back to the funds and say, hey, you guys take control because this thing is out of our hands. That's what they're doing.
I know, which is already built, like Joseph is dead on arrival kind of plan. Because one thing about these people that given whether our funds or the people we call the enemies from within, one thing they need to know, which they find difficult to understand, which is so obvious, is the fact that these people don't need us. They only need they need what we have. Now at Taganji, of all people, I feel so sad that this man has got a family that he's representing, because he's such a brazen liar that he lies without blinking. He says everything has gone back to normal and so the funds can go back home. But he himself cannot go back home, can he? He can't walk the streets of Bamenda. He can't. So I don't know why. Yeah. So
no, he can't go back home. Where is he going to go back to? The only way he can enter Bamenda is enter Bamenda under the cover of darkness. And he will not enter under the cover of darkness. Enter with armor cars. Because now we have shown them, we have beaten them everywhere. Because they know that we have given ownership of this struggle to the people and control to the people. Now the only thing they say, oh yeah, the funds are over the people. So we can use the funds now and then, tell it, because most of us, we have our culture, and in our culture, we respect our funds. So they think that using this, they think that using the funds to pronounce all this kind of libation or pronounce curses on us will make people scared and be like, okay, yeah, let's give up give up on the struggle. But he is fair.
Yeah. All right. I know you have been talking and making mention of the draft, and gradually we are going into this because, MEZAM County, just like any other county, has witnessed a lot of bloodshed and atrocities and all of those things that really pain, but which unfortunately we still need to always go back to it until we reach Boya. When we remember Pinyin, when we remember Bali, when we remember Babanki, and all of those things, they're still so very fresh in our minds. And so now I'm asking, we just launched the award, which the launching season has just ended. So how do you think the award money, the award can really help because what we have to do, because from the discussion we have here, we are just on our own, our traditional rulers against us, the neighboring country and the government against us, the international community apparently against us. So how is the award going to help stop situations like another Bali from happening, another Babanki from happening, another Pinyin, and all of those things from happening?
Yeah, so with this award now, because the government had thought that there are people were worried. They were worried of war. So many people have died. So many people have abandoned their homes. Children were not going to school. So they thought, okay, if we hold a little bit longer, we will, we'll break their back. So this award that had come, and instead the ownership of the award has been given back to the people, which means that this is a way of allowing the people to understand the struggle, how it is, and help and this award has already measured how much committed people are. See, the people who have opened their wallet and say, we know we have lost a lot of people. We have not come this far to go back to where we were. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we have not come this far to go back to what we had. I'm sorry, I was
That's the
negative.
ambassador
We
we're
have not
fighting
come this
for.
far. Yeah, we have not come back. We have not come this far to go back to where we were. It
Right.
is we're going to march forward. So now the government has discovered that there's just nothing that they can do. Now they are using our own to kill us. That's why you have this massacre going on. A massacre doesn't happen anywhere without an informant within. We know them.
Right.
They're acting like as if we had always been at war or we will always be at war because this war is going to come to an end. And these informers know that their time is up. We know them. We know a lot of them. Yeah. We haven't come out to say, hey, you are behind this, we are behind it. We know that this is going to happen when everything is said and done. We know those that we're going to hold accountable. What happened in Babanki? We know who was behind it. We know those that came behind. We know the killer of that lady of children in Babanki. This Bakari in Tuba, we have his picture. We know where he came from. He has a family. Yeah.
Right.
So these are the tactics that the government is using to try to defeat us. But it's not going to work.
Okay, thank you very much for your input. And back to you, Comrade Tita, what do you think as well, given the atrocities that MEZAM has incurred during this revolution, like we're saying, how do you think from your own thinking that award is going to help change the situation or prevent another such massacre from happening? We can't wait, we can't stand to see another Pinyin, another Bali, Babanki, and so on. How is the award going to help stop this?
Well, I think that the award, the draft that was launched by President Sako I think the best initiative that we have seen so far in this revolution by far. And I think when you see the carnage that is happening in MEZAM, like you mentioned in Pinyin and the one in Bali, and remember in Bali we've not just we've had several group massacres. That the one with the chemical attack was not just the first one. We had the Bayer family that was massacred, four men from the same family killed at the same time. We recently had as far back as two about a week ago that they saw two corpses in an advanced state of decay and decomposition in Bali in the 84 Bali, and we've seen this type of massacre happening. The one in Babanki obviously was very painful, and obviously now the choice we could have made was to hope that an outsider will come in and help us and a donor will come from the outside and help us to fight this war, but give us conditions and say, hey, if I give you this money to fund this revolution, I want this in return. But Dr. Sako, being the smart leader that he is, he decided that, you know what, let us fund this war from within us. So he launched the draft, which was a great initiative. And basically, we are pulling our own crumbs as Southern Cameroonians, as Amazonians, and putting our hands in our pocket and taking out our stipend. And everybody who has been drafted, I want to thank them. But I think
Right.
that we gonna have to continue to draft, because this is the only way we're gonna be able to fund this revolution, so that the day we get our victory, we will not have to answer to anybody. We won't have to go and say, hey, you know what? This person, we owe this person this money for helping us achieve this goal. We're going to be beating our chest and being happy and proud of ourselves, as saying that we are the ones who, with our meager means, we put our hands in our pocket and we drafted and we made it this
Mm-hmm.
far. And we'll be able to celebrate that victory. It's going to be a sweet victory, because that victory will be ours. It will not be somebody
Right.
else's. And I think that it goes a long
Wow.
way. I think the message here is that we Southern Cameroonians, we Amazonians, should continue to draft. And those that have
Mm-hmm.
not drafted, those that are still having to sit on the fence, those that are still thinking about drafting, you have to do it now, because there is going to come a time where you will not even accept that draft money from you anymore. You will be paying a
Mm-hmm.
fine, not a draft, because we need that money now to be able to sponsor and get our freedom. And you need to come up now and help that process, because if you wait too long, when we already are in Boya, you will be coming in and you'll be coming in shame, because we will not be asking you anymore for a draft. You'll be paying a penalty for not paying your draft or not supporting the revolution. I think it is important that we put that out there, so that people should understand the importance of drafting right now, not then, but right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you so much. And dear televiewers, you are watching County Roads with Comfort Convo, and tonight we will hosting MEZAM County, Comrade Tita from Bali local government area, and Comrade Blasius from the Tuba LGA. And before we go ahead, if the technician could please kindly put up the payment platforms or the options that I forwarded to you, so that maybe if someone is moved, if someone was still planning to get themselves drafted or to redeem their pledge, the time is now. The payment options are up, and if we could have that running while we continue with business, it will really be much appreciated. That said, I want to come back to you, Comrade Tita. You said something which I find that you make it like kind of finely crafted. The idea that instead of what stretching a hand of faith to beg from some stranger or foreigner that come and help us, such that tomorrow when we go back home we can give you this, you make it to me. I've never thought like that, but you have made me this evening to understand that for us to sweat and bleed our pockets to sponsor this war by ourselves, tomorrow we are really going to be proud, because the success is ours. It's really our sweat. I think that is a take-home message for anybody listening to us now. I've never thought like that, but I said really see it, and I hope someone does see it too and finds reason to draft now, to stop another Bali from happening, stop another Pinin, stop another Babaki. So our lines, we have the payment platforms, and even they don't put them up, it doesn't stop you. Call me at any time. I have access to the 61 LGAs and the 13 counties, and I can connect you to your LGA, to your county, to whoever you want. Do not keep a dime, a dollar that is supposed to be in the coffers of your LGA. So that said, we are going ahead, and back to you, Comrade Tita. There are certain things that we cannot take for granted. The activities of those we call enemies within the house, the Amazonian blood that has chosen to just turn around us and stand on our feet. People like my country people, the DDRs and all of those things. Their activities in this revolution cannot be underestimated, because they are so depleting, and they keep, those are the distractions that they protract even our attaining some level. So what message do you have to these type of people, given that lives are being lost? Even now that we are speaking, something is going wrong, but they don't see it and they do what they do. What message do you have to Comrade Tita, please?
Yeah, I think that my message to the black legs and the dictator is that stop doing what you're doing,
Right.
because historically you are going to pay. whether you like it or not. Even people like obviously condo titles, my country people, and others that have decided to side with the government. This is really simple. We have a situation here where we have a government which has been in power for decades. We have a president who has been in power going on 40 years. He has basically, during his term in office, he has caused so much pain and suffering. And previous to that, we had another dictator who was there for 22, 23 years. And finally, the people of Southern Cameroon, Amazonia, mind you, did everything the right way. They went through all the channels. They tried to work everything out with the government of the Republic of Cameroon to prevent today's happening from happening. We had the AAC 1, we had AAC 2, we had the 1992 election that was won by an Anglophone, John Frundi. We had, even before, we had the teachers going out to strike. Before, which was pretty much where we started having the most of this what got us to where we are today. They wrote several letters to the Minister of Justice. They wrote several letters to the Minister of Education complaining about the influx of French teachers into our system. They wrote several letters to the Minister of Justice complaining about the induction of French judges into our common law system. These things were done. It wasn't like we just woke up one day and decided, you know what, we have had enough. Our parents, our great grandparents, they begged, they went on their knees, they asked just to go back to the deal they had in 1961. They did everything the right way, the peaceful way. And until now, everything was shown. The Cameroonian, the Larbi government said, we cannot talk with you guys. So when you come back and ask the black legs and ask them, what did we not do to prevent this from happening? They will not be able to answer that question. Because if you ask them, why are you fighting? Why are you selling us to the enemy? Why are you not why are you not on board with us? We this is not our fault. We are not crazy. We didn't just go out there and pick up guns to defend ourselves because we thought that it was just funny or it was a nice thing to do. This is something that was predicted by the CIA back in 1984. They predicted that they saw that this continuous marginalization of Anglophones could lead to something worse happening. This was already seen by people who have foresight. The CIA predicted this. So it's not something that everybody should be caught by surprise by. So my message to the black legs is that this war will come to the end. Just mind you, historically, black legs have always suffered. If you go back to look at the war in Eritrea, the war in East Timor, even going back as recent as far back as the World War II, we know that France executed 9,000 black legs on firing squad, and 40,000 more were in prison, most of which died even in jail. We know what the East Timorites did to those who were against their revolution when they went and hid themselves in Indonesia. When the war ended, the East Timorites had a clause in the treaty, and they told the Indonesian government, you have to send us all those blacklegs. And when those blacklegs came to East Timor, they were all executed. So the blacklegs have to understand that when this war comes to an end, there will be time that you're going to have to answer, whether you like it or not. It is time for you to stop doing what you're doing. And Amazonians are very forgiving people. You can come and say, I missed the road, I missed my exit, I got lost, I am sorry for having been this way, I want to come back and deal with my people. And Amazonians will forgive you, but obviously they will forgive you with doubts, but you will have made an effort. I'm asking those black legs, those people that are out there, that for one or two reasons, maybe you got angry because maybe you believe that somebody has extorted money from you and you think they were Amazonian restoration forces, or somebody had harassed you and you think they're Amazonian, and the best way to approach that was to call the forces and report them. That's the wrong way to go. It is the wrong way to go, because what you're doing is that you're inviting the enemy to come and slaughter your own people. Because when they come to slaughter these innocent people, you might also get caught in the way, and you might also end up being a victim. In fact, some of them have even been victims. Those that have called the enemy and reported the locations of our reservoirs, some of them have suffered, or their families have suffered as a result of that. So what I'm saying to the Blacklegs is that you are shooting yourself in the foot by doing what you're doing. People like Kondo Titus, people like others that are in those leagues that are thinking that for them, we are dealing with a dictatorship that is almost at the end, and you are actually basically selling our secret to a dying regime. What will you do when the regime finally dies? Are you going to come back and embrace us? So that's something that the Blacklegs need to think about.
All right. Now, thank you. Thank you very much. I hope that you spoke to someone, because they do listen to us more than our people do, and they hear us, you know. So I hope that you spoke to someone. Let them rack their brains. There's still time. Thank God you made it clear to them that we are a forgiving people. We still acknowledge the fact that they are our brothers. Let them come and repent. Why not? We'll open our arms and embrace them, and we move on together as a family. I think that's something. So that said, Comrade Blasius, please, in addition to what Comrade Tita has just said, we equally have these others said, like the federalists and the unionists and so on. A couple of weeks or days ago, about last week, I read just a headline. I did not want to read the report. I read a statement where a journalist says, Barrister Balankongo, he has written an extensive report blaming the Amazonia Restoration Forces for abuse of human rights. That was the week when they butchered our sister Comfort in Moyoka. So, you know, things happen. I'm going back again to MEZAM. Benin happened, Ngarbu happened, Babanki happened, and all of those. We did not see some of these reports and seeing who exactly they were pointing to. And then the death surrounding the butchering, the circumstances surrounding the butchering of our sister, which we don't know who did that. He writes a report blaming his own brothers. What do you have to tell the likes of Agbobala and so on? Comrade Blasius, please.
Well, I'm not really a student of history, but if Agbobala have amnesia and forgotten to have read what is going on, what has happened in other African countries, I would like to point him to Sierra Leone and Liberia, which is, I think it should be fresh in our memory. What had happened to Johnny Paul Kuruma? What happened to General Mosquito? What happened to the likes of him? Let him go and yeah, to continue. The Republic is very good at disinformation or misinformation. That's what they are good at. You know, when they commit a crime, before they go to execute that crime, they have already had their people line up saying that, okay, when we do this, put up this statement and said, and blame blame our opponent that they are responsible. I was listening to BBC Africa Pidgin language. That was it Saturday? I think it was yesterday. It was Friday. They said that the military are good at disguising as amber boys and committing atrocity. This is BBC. BBC Pidgin English News. So Agbobala doesn't have any place to hide. He will not. He can hide now because he has the protection of La Republique. But tomorrow, when everything is said and done, and La Republique leaves our land, they're not going to welcome him. The money which they are paying him to say what he's saying today is going to dry up. That account is going to dry up, and he will have no one but himself to blame. To our, we know every struggle had always had people like this that seem to forget that the struggle is going to end one day. This is why these people, they think they're going to be in this struggle forever. They forget that this struggle might end tomorrow or next month. But when it ends, that is where they will discover that they were on the wrong side of history. because history is going to judge them according to their actions. Look at what they did to our sister in Moyuka. Turn right around and blame us. Yeah, and now we know who did it. They killed this girl Treasure in Bamenda, and they put. You see, when you see the government, the prime minister dispatching his chief of I don't know how they call it back home, to go to Moyuka with the governor. How many people have died, and they have sent people to go out there and conduct with it? Why is this one different? That's because they know what they have done, and they thought they were trying to call the attention of the international community to condemn us. That's what they're trying to do. They orchestrated this killing in the northern zone and the southern zone so that they will say, look at what these people are doing. You see? And, well, they forget to know that you cannot fool the international community. Some of them are helping you. They know. You can't lie to them because they're the one providing you the means of your communication. They're listening into what you're doing. So you can't turn and tell the devil, oh, yeah, you can't lie to the devil because, you know. So we know these people. They can lie to us, but they cannot lie to the international community.
Exactly.
We know that France is behind them, supporting them, and helping them out. But one thing I want to tell these people is this, that the source of your income, the money that you plug over, this money is going to come to an end. This war is going to come to an end. And you will have no we can forgive you, but the family of those people you kill, it will be up to them. It will not be up to us. It will be up to this family to decide.
If I might add,
All right.
it is heartbreaking because when we see these manipulations from La République de Cameroon, they are using our own people to help them to push that narrative. We have been seeing how a reputable newspaper like the Guardian Post has completely ignored our plight, and he's talking the same kind of language as La République would prefer them to do. Just think about this. Let me tell you something that people don't realize. It seems to me like the killing of our people has been normalized. It is normal for La République military to come to southern Cameroon and they kill every day. That is not breaking news anymore. It has become normal. People have accepted that it is okay for La République to kill us. But when we have a situation like what happened in the southern in Moyoka, okay, where this poor lady got slaughtered, and then we see how La République jumps and take that story and wants to run with it. But then we see our own newspapers like the Guardian Post and others are helping La République to push that narrative. And that is where it becomes like a dagger or sword, because it really pains that instead of having a newspaper coming out and doing investigative work, immediately a story happens, the very next day there's a headline in the newspaper: Amber terrorists, Amber restoration fighters decapitate woman in Moyoka. Amber terrorists, Amber restoration forces. And mind you, no investigation, zero investigation has been done. If you ask the journalist, did you send somebody in the field to interview the families of the woman? Did you send somebody in the field to talk to the neighbors? Did you send somebody in the field to ask just basic questions about what happened before and after the incident? None of that is done. They just basically jump out and they put out these headlines and condemning Amazonians restoration forces. And that is what La République is using as a way to push the narrative to the international community, all the while covering their own slaughtering that is happening on our land on a daily basis. So I'm telling you what we see a slaughtering a scenario where people are being killed, and it's become a normal. It's normal. It's basically acceptable that they come and kill our people. But when you have a scenario like what happened in Muyuka, all of a sudden all hell break loose. It becomes, oh, Amazonians are doing this and that. And then the bad thing is that our own people are pushing the narrative, and it's so unfortunate. I think that we have to take a step back, and especially these news organs, Anglophone, English-speaking newspapers, and others that are out there on the social media, they should take a step back and come to their senses and realize that they are doing the bidding for the government of the Republic of Cameroon. Whether they're doing it knowingly or unknowingly, but they should stop and do some thorough thinking and ask themselves, why should I jump to conclusions when 9 times out of 10, the stories have come back to point to La Republique being the perpetrators? We have seen this over and over and over again. We saw that in Gabu, the La Republique jumped and said it was Amazonian forces who had committed those massacres in Gabu. Then it turns out that it was La Republique who came in the middle of the night and they slaughtered those children. We've seen this happening every time and again, and every 9 times out of 10, it comes back to point to the military of La Republique de Cameroon, because our forces are not stupid. These restoration forces that the joining Amazonian restoration forces that pick up arms to defend their villages, these are people who care. They're not stupid. They're not going to go out there and commit such gruesome acts. It's not in our blood. Amazonia has not been a bloodthirsty people. No, that has never been us. We got into this war because we were pushed to a war where there was no turning back. And people had to bounce back and say, I cannot just sit and die, and decide to pick up their rifles, their hunting rifles, and now they're defending their land. They're not going to go out there and slaughter their own people. No, that's not in us. We have people that are doing that, and that's not the Amazonian Restoration Forces. These are people that are being paid by La Republique de Cameroon. And obviously those crimes, they fit very well into what La Republique is capable of doing. We saw that what happened in the north, where they did with the killing of the woman with the baby strapped on her back. We saw this type of killing when they took Sam Sawyer and put her on video and slit his throat. We've seen how La Republique take a baby and pour that baby in boiling oil. Okay, we've seen this type of gruesome acts being done by La Republique. And when you see this type of acts happen, you should not even stop to think that our restoration forces can do this type of act. No, you know the perpetrators. They are the ones that are doing this kind of acts. You should do your investigation thoroughly, and whoever is doing this act should be brought to books. It doesn't even matter if there are some recalcitrant forces that are out there that are Amazonian Restoration Forces doing it. If you are an Amazonian fighter and you are involved in acts like that, there will be times that you'll be brought to the books. But we know for sure that these acts are not done by Amazonian Restoration Forces. They are done by the BIR, the Battalion Intervention Rapid, or whatever they call them. These are the hallmarks of the BIR. These are what they do. So let us stop fooling around, and this newspaper should stop acting so fast in putting out these headlines, and stick to the storyline, and stick to the facts. Send people out there to investigate these stories, and not just go out there and spew garbage, because we've seen this happen time and over again. And let me tell you something: the publishers of these newspapers, we will also ask you questions when this war is over. Why were you putting all these headlines you were putting? Because there is going to be time that we're going to have to sit back and have a soul session to ask these questions. And we will ask this question because this war will come to an end one day. Thank you.
Very much, Comrade Tita. I was just going to take a step back to what you said before. All right.
Let me just
finish what I said I was going to step back to what you said earlier on to the blacklegs, that they should stop what they are doing and come back home and repent and join us to do the right thing. I think it's the exact message that these newspaper writers, the Guardian Post, they want to listen to. We cannot take this line down when we get home because they have been playing with the blood of our people enough. Yes, Comrade Blasius, please.
So, to add to what Comrade Tuta was just saying, I would like to refer to these black legs, like my country people, Mr. Kong, and the Guardian Post. I want them to go to Fumban. Fumban is in La République, where they are being paid. To go to the palace in Fumban, there's a score of a smallish person there. The history behind that score in that palace is that the score is on display for everybody to see, any visitor that comes to see. That during when the people of Fumban were fighting for their struggle, this man, when people goes out to war, he will hide somewhere. Yeah. And then at night, you go out and look for a small child, kill the person, bring the head back so that this is what an enemy head that he had killed. So when the people discovered that that's what he was doing, they had no mercy for him. So they killed him, put his head on display for everybody to see what they do to black men. So they should go to that Fumban Palace and see what is on there. That is what they do to black men. We are not going to reinvent the wheel. Yes. Everywhere from down to Liberia recently, we know what has been done to black men, and even to the Fumban people. They have shown us what to do to black men. This newspaper called The Guardian has been banned throughout our territory. And Secretary Chris has issued a warning that if any cure carries out that display that newspaper on their stand, our forces will go there, seize that newspaper and burn it, and warn the person who owns the kiosk that if we come back and this newspaper is being displayed again on your stand here, we will not only burn the newspaper, we will burn everything. And then there's another newspaper called The Miracle. When you say miracle, I look at the Bible, everything that says miracle is always good. But this newspaper seems to be a newspaper straight from hell because it's on, I think that's the name of the newspaper. Green. That newspaper too should not exist in Amazonia because they are a propaganda machine for our enemies. These are the faces of the enemies that we are seeing. We're telling our people, my country people, Barisankon, the Guardian Post, all those newspapers, these are the faces of the enemy. Don't wait for somebody to come and tell you that the enemy is there in the people. No, the enemy is within us. You have to look within, eliminate the one that we have, then we can fight the one outside. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I believe that both of you have given them enough information. You have prepared them to know that blacklegs are never left to get away with their stuff after independence. Because Comrade Tita talked about a case in France, you talked about Fumban and so on and so forth. And the good thing is that we have given them room. Now we are still very ready to forgive, even repent. So I hope that they all listened to you, and I hope that they are trying to rack their brains, ask them a few questions, and see what they want to do to help themselves from future trouble, I would call it. So that said, I would really like to take us to let's travel abroad this time around. We've never done this on county roads, but we want to travel to Mali now to see what is happening since last Monday, the mutiny that took place, which led to forced resignation, forced and at the same time peaceful, because I like the idea, the fact that he said he was going to sign a resignation because he avoided bloodshed on his people, which is good. But what interests me that I would like us to comment on is the fact that The international community is making a whole drama out of it. And I'm asking, what is happening? People are dying. Garbo happened and shook the whole world. And so on, all of these things, nothing happened. But now people are saying, oh, the military should go back to their barracks, or they should take back the president back to the presidency, and so on. ECOWAS has sanctioned Mali, and so on and so forth. How can you compare what is happening to Mali to Ambazonia, to what La Republique is doing to Ambazonia, and what message do you have? Because maybe this international community of a community still needs education. That time we think that they know everything that is going on. But if they are so on the case of Mali, it means that they have no idea what is happening to us. Is there a word for them, Comrade Tita, please?
Yes. Well, this Mali is not in isolation. We see that if you look at Africa within the last 5, 6, 7 years, we have seen what happened, obviously, starting from the Gambia, going to what happened in Burkina Faso. We saw what happened in Zimbabwe. We saw what happened in the Horn of Africa, including in Tunisia and Egypt, the Arab Spring. We saw what recently happened in Nigeria, where they deposed their leader. We are seeing the youths are starting to realize that enough of this France and the imperialist world using us as toilet tissue. And so what happened in Mali is not an isolation, and I guarantee you, in some few weeks, if not months from now, we're gonna see that happening in areas that maybe Guinea-Conakry and even Togo, and obviously Cote d'Ivoire, where we saw the president has changed the rules and wants to run for another term. This is what is happening. France is going to eventually finally lose grip of Africa, whether they like it or not. The youth are coming up, and I'm encouraged by what I see happening, especially what I saw in Mali. I'm encouraged that the youth are finally saying enough is enough. Now, I don't know if that will happen in La Republique, because obviously we have a sitting dictator who has been there for 40 years, and it looks to me like what we see happening in La Republique, mind you, La Republique media and citizens are always good at analyzing what is happening in other countries like Mali and Togo and Cote d'Ivoire, but when you tell them to talk about their own country, they can't answer you why a dictator has been there for 40 years. They can't tell you why the country is thinking. They can't tell you why there are no roads. Just recently saw what happened in Douala, where the whole city almost got swallowed by water, and seemed like there's no drainage system, nothing. And so we have to understand that the youths are rising. What we have to do is to stop France, because what is happening here is that France is doing everything to control the political system in Africa, because France knows that Africa is their honey well. It's where they're getting all their resources. Without Africa, France is going to become a third world country or a second world country. So France is doing everything to hold on to Africa. But finally, the youths are standing up and saying enough, similar to what Ambazonians and people from Southern Cameroon did. They said, we have had enough. We have begged you, we have gone on our knees and asked you for federation, we've asked you for this, we've asked you just to change, to stop sending us French judges to our cause. We've begged you to stop sending these French teachers to our schools. We have had enough of this begging. And if you look at the dynamics that is in La République de Cameroon, there is really no way you can foresee Cameroon changing similar to what we see in Mali, because we have we have the BIRA, which is the private militia of Cameroon, Spobia, is almost exclusively from one tribe. It's from the Beti, the Bulu tribe.
Bulu Beti thing. Yeah.
Bulu Beti thing. So, and we see that almost 60 to 65% of the deals and administrators are from the same region. So we are seeing that it will be difficult for Cameroon to change, to hand power to somebody, say, I'm talking about La République here, to hand power to somebody, say, from the north or from a Bamileke person, because it will change the dynamics. It means that the power, when that power goes to them, this this Betty hegemony that has been enjoying for all this time, they will have to now go back to the dustbin and start eating their chaffs, and they don't want that to happen. So at the end of the day, you can only see Cameroon imploding at some point in time, but I think that it will implode in such a way that it will be people fight each other, tribes going at each other, maybe the Bulos and the Betis and the Nordis going at each other. There is no appetite to come and form a common front to chase out dictatorship. That doesn't seem to be the case, and this is just my opinion. And sometimes some people might differ in what I say, but we have seen that the BAS have done a lot during the past year to sensitize the people of La Republique. But still yet, it seemed to be an isolated movement because it seemed like the Nordies and the Beti Bulu are not coming are not following the lead of the BAS. So I think what will happen in Cameroon will end up being similar to what happened in Rwanda, where we saw the tribes, the Hutus and the Tutsis going at each other, and it will be bloody. I think that if Cameroon doesn't get the message, because right now we are back to a one-party system. Cameroon is back to being a full-fledged dictatorship, one-party system. There's nothing that this is basically a recipe for catastrophe, not even worse than a disaster. And it's unfortunate that people who are blacklegs, they don't see this coming. They don't see that you have a regime that is almost at its dying end. There's no way you can explain to me how an octogenarian who has been in office for 40 years and his government is basically made up of another group of cronies and octogenarians, and you decide to take their side instead of taking the side of youths who are picked up, who have decided to fight for their own future. But you take the side of the oppressor against the oppressed. That is something that is baffling to me what the blacklegs are doing. And I think their own day will come. But I give kudos to the people of Mali. I want to encourage them to hold on to their freedom and not let the French, the European and the French come and manipulate them. Let them come together and forge a future for their country. And I look forward to other Francophonic countries because it seems like it's mostly happening to the Francophonic countries. I look forward to others taking the example of Mali and taking back their land. And instead of dying in the Sahara Desert or dying in the Mediterranean Sea trying to cross to Europe, it's about time they sit in their land and fight and get their land back and fight for their freedom.
Thank you so much. I think that was a powerful message to the young people of Mali. I don't know, Comrade Elections, if you equally have a word, like, because just like Comrade Tita is rounding up, I was wondering in my mind, do you think that because of the pressure from the international community and so on, that at some point Mali is going to lose grip of what they're doing now, because to me they're on the right track? You know, I listened to some commentator from America saying that the mutinists, they don't seem to have a plan what they are going to do after the coup, even though their plan is clear that they are going to put a transitional government in place. Do you think that this pressure can cause them to lose their grip at some point? And what word of advice or courage do you have for them? Just 1 minute, please.
Okay, well, you just 1 minute. It's interesting to see how people have this, but they did not see what they were planning. What happened in Mali, in my opinion, was not a mutiny, was not a military mutiny. I'm putting my military hat on. It was the people fed up with French involvement in Mali. It was the military rise up. It was a military coup that arrested this man. That is not our kind of thing. It is not our kind of thing. It might look similar, but that's not our kind of thing. They were people that had been under misrule for quite some time. But we were subjugated people. We were subjugated. We are subjugated people. We want independence. These people are fed up with the French involvement. We are not advocating for the La République military to take over from Pobia. Of course, if they want to take over from Pobia, hey, let them go ahead. But what happened in Mali was where the people of Mali saying that, no, we have had enough of you and enough of the French government imposing people upon us, just like they have done in La République. So the Mali people have seen the light. That people in La République haven't seen it up to now because, the people who are in control are probably still benefiting from it. So they haven't seen the light. But what is going on in Mali and the international community did not see their plight at first, but they only see the plight of the president, the plight of one person, and now they are condemning the masses. So, what an irony. When these people were suffering, they were calling on people, just like in other countries, they are suffering, calling on people are not listening. But as soon as they rise up, they will be like, okay, yeah, we condemn in the strongest term, this is what you have just done. No, let the Mali people stand, and they should stand firm in what they have believed. What they have done is everybody is going to do. Because when you push people to the wall and they have nowhere else to go, they'll fight back. They are fighting back. Don't allow the French. They could make all the noise. They made the noise in Nigeria. Where are they today? They were in South Asia fighting there. Where are they? It were people with gym shoes that fought them and sent them away with just a bowl of rice in their hand with jam shoes in South Asia. So let the Malians learn what the Algerians did to the French and hold on to their victory, because it's a victory that it is not only for them, it's for the whole of West Africa and Africa as a whole. So this victory is not only for Mali, as you might look at it. It is a victory for the entire African nation. If France is out of Mali, that's one country that has freed itself from the bondage of the French government. And then what we know is that in all these, there are 14 African countries, that France has a hold over their economy and their military system. In the military, France has a unit in each military that the French government activated if you go too far out of line. But the Malian people were too smart. It is the military that took over and not the one that was loyal to the French. I'm praying, asking that they should eliminate French military personnel amongst them. They should eliminate them before they bring in the France. Because if you put water in a pot, if you bring water directly with fire, fire cannot stand water. But if you take water and put it in a pot, the fire can pass through the pot and consume that water. So what happens is that those people who are in the Malian army are pro-French, the Malians should deal with them, because France is going to pass through them to take it away there. That is our advice.
Good. Thank you so much. The contribution here is not going for nothing, because like I said at the beginning of the show, this TV, ABC Amber TV, covers the entire sub-Saharan Africa. And I have friends from Mali who know me just from county roads. So you are speaking like this and people are listening to you directly from that country, Mali, and the rest of Africa. So we know what we want. Let's go for it. So I think that's the word that you actually are sending to them. So that said, I just want to apologize to our dear televiewers that today we are not going to be able to open the lines for calls, because for technical reasons, it's going to be impossible for us to receive calls. So we'll just move ahead to, that means gradually we are moving to the end of the program, as I will ask our comrade Tita, if you can, please just get a summary of what you find important as an important message to take home this evening. And if you could, please, on this platform, we believe that if you talk to someone in their local language, you talk directly to their hearts. So if you have the opportunity, and if you can, to address even Mama and Papa them in the local language, this is going to change their entire week. Just listening to you, they're sitting there talking to them directly to their heart. It's something very precious. So over to you, Dr. Tita.
All right, thank you again. I want to thank my colleague, Comrade Blessius, Let me speak to the people of Bali. Bani, Nchati, Munta Fanji Kabobin. Munta Fa Chati Bobani, Boa USA, Iboma Canada, Boa Australia, Boa Germany, Boma China, South Africa, Bani Boma Holland, Iboma Bomo Baket, Bakden, in Chukera, Munta Chati, Bani Me, Ga Kwa. Your revolution Baba Jia, a chairman in Fi, Bagala Bumtibo, Bagala Tot, Mbi Ndip Chemo, Gaba Chema Boya. Munta Fandika Sembo Baba, Iboma Algia, Ibo Bombin Tot, your revolution go on. Munta Fandika Boba Nimbang, Iboma Se, Nin protect Gongba Nia. Nga kwa mun fanji kambobin kwa nkende nga bi fa kwa mbonket ambuni yo fa bi fa mun ta fanji ka sembo ba chairman na bale LGA e bo ba bonwa executive ba bale LGA mun fanji ka sembo ba ma advisory council mun ta chuanga ba yenga ba football aga chineke ndi chemu mbo matot nga batore your amber world draft yango ona anta nga ba bomti bo ba yenga ba show o mabam tot your amber world draft mi yobo nyum ato yenga ba get ibongong back ba bon ma banka sanga munin kwa munin mbonga uwambo mo bani ma diaspora your struggle yango ona achemu ni level achemu ni mfi ugela gang kiti mumonga mume muoge ndi mbelo leto mi amo bibine ma gomba mo chuonga kambo ya bone bi bon tobitanga nintanga nka tot nka yenga nyumole ache malevi achemwa na wambi tang yunga umani chuanga ndi bukan ntot man drafta ukachi bwanja mumbu wonga baba boba na boba fet boba bo nkenbon iboma diaspora bi yenga ba senti ba tot amba world draft bonbo draft moi muninta ma fanji kambobin jubon jam draft moi la ba ni jam kunvi ba ni jam kunvi ba get ba ni ma gong ba me man vira nda ma USA ba ni jam and jam munta bumbo ba ni nga your better le abo bet bagala tot bagala yenga ba tot ba yenga ba get Amazonia ba get ngong Amazonia ba chema boya one chiman jamga nga ku kombu bet boy mbi one gombon ba i boka tambo bet ma gombon ma badi toni ni enjoy your gombon ba mo America i boka tambega bon ka kuket one thing chiman jamga ku kombu bet bo la nin chiman gombon ba i boka nin tambe boka tamu bet jinga boga ya freedom utomo ni enjoy freedom and then disanga kumoto thought by yenga bagari bo friend bombo elebo hypocrisy elebo nchumbo nchuni chumu kalinga hypocrisy mbunga bani be so bombo mabam be thought ba bon ibon different gong bania ba nimbam bon independent ubo matoya ba wounded soldiers bon ibo bo angwena ba IDPs ba refugees bonbo manda chang ma mankundenge ma boya ma bamenda ba ni jam ibo anda changa ibo nsofa bon ma jingle mon bumbo bo ba ni nga bi kiti yon nyume nga bi tot nga bi so bo wa bam kwa mon kwa bumbo nga bi tot President Dr. Samuel Sako ikome ni your amber world draft i mamwa mbi batian but you about the last you about the nanda nyum iba aba your draft le ban ya you about the last nyum you about nanja mi ba you about the last battle so mun bumbonga be taught be support President Sako be support amber world draft be taught ABC TV biton ga biyenga ba yenga nyomolego nchineke ago ncheni fi agara go nchea monta metise ma chati ba bonbo bini min tora nga bi kun bi man kran boy nga bi man an kran boy titi ba chema boya mbi bumo bon nga bo tod mo nga bo tod mo nga o won bo tod mo bo kun kan to tod bi ba gela ba fikisi la kran bo fo mo bo bonbo bini tora mba mfanji kan bobin la ba fila kran bo so mfanji kan bo baba mfanji kan bo Bali erje mfanji ka bo bon bo ma sinin different gomba nia ba nimbang kwa mo mfanji kan bo bin kwa njamun alunk bo bin ba bo ba ni bo nge bo ba chimwa jinge bo bi disanga bi o different gomba ni and bo todin ni bo manji ni ko to mat na tinga ba todina bo mo mfanji kan bo bin. Thank you very much, my comfort, and thank you, Comrade Blessius, for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Comrade Tita. Thank you. Yeah. So over to you, Comrade Blessius, please.
Okay, I will give just a brief headings of what I'm about to say. So I'm about to explain to them that the word gives ownership to the people. It gives control of the struggle to the people to an extent. It gives accountability back to the people and measure their commitment of the struggle. It's a measurement of the award is a measurement of their commitment to the struggle. So this is what I'm about to say in vernacular. Okay, my tongue to be geometry flashes. I want some. Please have a cool motion. My very ambati will have the view trouble. I'm a jump with the Mulu Toba. My God, the Kuabatamala, Kuabatamala, Kua, I know to Moko, everything more Kua as I can go song and girl. Early Kua, at times, we are a young girl, they ever saw, they ever young color, they ever truly engaged a film. So they come and keep the coach where works on. So whenever Kua, another mall, I've always a poor view. I've all the quarter. I call the government. I call keep government keep control. All right, call and a driver with fully we jump to like we creature as songly shiva to. And so whenever we did it, and we they committed. I can go sang and fato. Leila. Co avem ola ludrifela we use co ala vene sola ala de kunwa kuli shi san windi la go to mama ko pakwe be ko umo be ko she ade be umo be tigu time ya shitashi be we de ko share ayetu ya jamten de bo tete umo to huko ya shitashi ajo wen ko we o we ko kuje to jamten pato jamten anonymous yet utu zamo phone number on the at 318-278-4208 or to contact my comfort. I do the mediator, I do the moderator, our control country road program when contact we got our co-contributor. I should be to contribute that so. So whenever one key we already la require the sunray already que she ajoute à l'italium on dit one que fait quoi yellen ku autour d'ang no ba ma chetamo ya ma connect on we atom sur un qui we ni abra le ni ya fam ko yellen ku o cheta yes because ya de che gam atom sur tom sur sunray ya ko ma ko ade ko ngo ebe ko onde avivino yes I'll give it to you. When David more, Lala Koya Mombi, from all of you, Yabambo, and the new coup and then Luandi, Yanga la government got la va mo for with support. Avia Tuba, I use the word use core. I decide the word decide the core. I Tuba and Fuku Jamadi so. I went to Malawi, can you really share core to so really can you have an core? Ko bi Luvambu, ko Luva Bule, ko Luva Chamwaka, ko Luva Fungi. And it Aviva, I did the Gam to Wapa Nuko. I really Gam to our new song. No doubt they affected the song. And the yes, or the code, the real day would give evidence that yes, yeah, Tom So. So, Kuzukanka, one fan, je tell. Okay. Thank you so much, my comfort. Thank you, my
Okay, thank you.
co-panelists.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Blushos and Comrade Tita, for your time to stay here with us to talk to our people. Thank you for every information you have sent out. And thank you, dear televiewers, for always being there. And please do well. Remember to get yourself drafted. If you haven't, remember to redeem your pledge. And remember to always do something. Remember to remind a brother or sister to do something, because we can only win this war that was forced upon us by the old dictator in Yaoundé, and we are capable of doing that. So thank you once again, and see you again soon. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks.